Airbnb is a game changer in the hospitality industry. Unlike most companies in the hospitality business, Airbnb doesn't own any houses, hotels, or private guest inns. Rather, Airbnb allows people to rent out their homes for a short period to other people who are mostly travelers and tourists. Airbnb started as a simple way to earn a few bucks to pay the rent. But after receiving their first few bookings, the founders of Airbnb realized that it could be so much more. They invited a friend over, and together they set out to redesign the short-term home rental market. Sure, Airbnb started small, but today Airbnb boasts over 150 million users. The company also has over 7 million properties listed on its platform, with 4 million of those listings run by the hosts themselves. Today, the company is worth around $18 billion. Now, let's take a look at how it all started for Airbnb. Joseph Gebbia was born on the 21st of August, 1981, in Atlanta, Georgia. He grew up with his parents, Eileen and Joseph Gebbia. As a kid, he was deeply interested in music and sports. Joe got his high school education from Brookwood High School in Snellville, Gwinnett County, Georgia. He then attended the Rhode Island School of Design, RSID, in Providence, Rhode Island. He graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in graphic design and industrial design. While at design school, he met his roommate and future co-founder of Airbnb, Brian Chesky. Gebbia also did business coursework at Brown University and MIT. After leaving RISD, Gebbia moved down to San Francisco. He was now set on building his own company. Brian Chesky was born on the 29th of August, 1981, in Niskayuna, New York. His father, Robert H. Chesky, was from Poland, while his mother, Deborah Chesky, was from Italy. Growing up, Brian Chesky was fascinated by art. He would often draw replicas of paintings. He would also redesign shoes and toys. His love for art evolved into a very strong interest in landscape architecture and design. By 1999, he joined the Rhode Island School of Design, where he met Joe Gebbia. He graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Industrial Design in 2004. After leaving college, Brian Chesky found a job as an industrial designer and strategist at 3DID Inc. in Los Angeles, where he remained until 2007, when he quit his job and moved in with Joe Gebbia. Nathan Blakarczyk was born in 1983. His parents were Paul Stephen and Sheila Blakarczyk, and together the family lived in an upper-middle-class area in Boston, Massachusetts. Nathan attended the Boston Latin Academy. As a teenager, the entrepreneurial side of Nathan was already self-evident. While he was still in high school, Nathan created his own software business, a web hosting business that provided services to spammers. After high school, he enrolled at Harvard to study computer science. There, he continued developing computer programs to pay his tuition. By the time he had made enough money, he left the business to focus solely on his studies. He graduated from Harvard in 2005. He then found employment as an engineer at OpNet Technologies. By 2007, he joined Patik as a lead developer. Joe Gebbia had just moved to San Francisco with the intention of opening his own business. He knew he needed help, and so he convinced his friend and former roommate, Brian Chesky, to join him. Brian agreed. Both men quit their jobs and now were fully determined to start a business. Unfortunately, their landlord raised the rent by 20% a few days after they had quit their jobs. This meant that they couldn't pay their rent. Luckily, an opportunity presented itself. There was an upcoming conference for the Democratic National Convention, and the venue was in San Francisco. This meant that many hotels in the San Francisco area became fully booked. Gebbia then had an ingenious idea. He wanted to turn their loft into a designer bed and breakfast as a way of raising some cash. To test out this idea, they developed a website called Airbed and Breakfast, and they sent messages to some top design blogs to gather more interests. Soon, they received their first bookings. 2 men and a lady showed up at their front door. Each person paid $80 for an air mattress. With this, they were able to pay their rent. But Joe and Brian knew they had a gold mine on their hands. They saw the huge potential of their new company, and they decided to recruit the services of an old friend, Nathan Blakarczyk, to help them build their business. But now, there was a problem. As Brian Chesky recalled, at this point, we were in debt and we had to figure out a way to pay our rent. The Democratic National Convention had come, and we filled up like about 80 people staying in the Airbnb. And then the week after the convention, it was kind of back to zero. But now what do? We built this website after spending a year on it. No one's using it. It was a chicken and egg problem. No one wanted to come to Airbnb and list their homes because there were no travelers. No travelers wanted to come to a website where there were no homes. And by the way, this was like a social experiment. Like no one wants to be the first person to try an idea like this. In the beginning, they struggled to find angel investors. And so, Joe and Brian decided to add breakfast to their service offering. By 2008, at the height of the election fever, they created their own Airbnb branded cereals, Obama O's and Captain McCain's, which sold for $40 per box. The cereal received national coverage thanks to the election fever and promotion by Katy Perry. The promotion was successful, and the company was able to raise $30,000, which was enough to keep the company off the ground. January 2009 was a great month for Airbnb, as the founders were invited to the winter training session of Y Combinator, where they were trained and given $20,000 in funding in exchange for a small stake in the company. At this time, the company wasn't doing so well in New York, so Joe and Brian traveled down to New York to find out why. They met several hosts who had listed their homes with the company and tried to find out where the problem was coming from. One of the problems that they found was that hosts were using low-quality cameras to take photos of their homes, and the low-quality images didn't represent their homes well. The founders now invested $5,000 in a high-end camera, which they used to take high-resolution photos of as many homes as possible. This led to a direct increase in customer bookings. By March 2009, the company's name was changed to Airbnb.com. The company had also begun listing private rooms and entire homes. By now, the company had 10,000 users and over 2,000 listings. Just a month later, the company received $600,000 in seed funding from Sequoia Capital. In November 2010, the company raised another $7.2 million investment from Greylock Partners and Sequoia Capital. By October 2011, Airbnb opened its first international office in London. The growth of international customers kept rising, and so, just a year later, the company opened several offices in Paris, Barcelona, Sao Paulo, Moscow, and Copenhagen. In November 2012, the company launched Neighborhoods, a travel guide service that helps tourists and travelers select a neighborhood of their preference. Neighborhood is available in over 23 cities across the United States. By 2013, the company had grown so big that it had to open a European headquarters in Dublin. At that time, the company had served 900,000 orders since the day it first launched back in August of 2008. The company also added over 200,000 properties in 2013 alone. April 2014 came with another round of investments. This time, Airbnb secured $450 million at a $10 billion valuation of the company. The money was provided by TPG Capital. By July 2014, the company made some major design shakeups. Both the website and the mobile app were redesigned. A new logo was added. The logo, which was called a bellow, was meant to be a symbol of belonging. The logo was made up of 4 elements: a head that represented people, a location icon that stands for a place, a heart that stood for love, and the letter A, which represented the company's name. A year later, President Obama eased business restrictions on Cuba. Airbnb seized the opportunity to expand its business to Cuba. Just a month later, Airbnb secured a huge investment, about $1.5 billion from several companies including General Atlantic, Hill House Capital Group, Tiger Management, etc. Almost a year later, Airbnb raised another $550 million from Google Capital and Technology Crossover Ventures. In March 2017, another $1 billion in funding was raised. This brought the entire funding secured by the company to a total of $3 billion. All these investments of time and money started to pay off. Airbnb recorded its first profit in mid-2016. From 2015 to 2016, the company's revenue grew by more than 80%. By 2018, the company recorded a profit of $200 million. The next year, however, the company recorded a loss of $322 million. But the company was still growing strong, and by the end of 2019, the company had an average of 2 million people booking their service every night. Unfortunately, the year 2020 was the start of the COVID pandemic. As governments around the world imposed border lockdowns and travel restrictions, Airbnb suffered heavy losses. Some cities experienced a sharp drop in bookings, with many cities recording as much as 96% drop in new bookings. Ironically, bookings rose in many rural areas. However, the pandemic's impact was too much. The company had to lay off 25% of its entire workforce across the planet. On January 18, 2022, Brian Chesky officially announced to the world that he would now be living on Airbnb, staying in a different town or city every couple weeks. It is almost fitting that the story of Airbnb's founding is a rag-to-riches story. Looking back, the founders are often in awe when they think about how far they've come. Both Joe and Brian had been through a lot. Those first few years spent building the company were gruesome. They were broke, in debt, and trying to convince people to try out their new service. Even when the company started to grow, there were still challenges. The company recorded many financial losses on its way to the top. For the founders, they needed a lot of belief, especially at the early stages when no one believed in their vision. They needed even more self-belief to stomach the many rejections they faced as they sought funding for their company. Thankfully, they persevered. If you've enjoyed this video so far, make sure to hit that like button. Plus, if you want more videos like this about the world's most successful entrepreneurs, then subscribe to the channel so you never miss a beat.